Greetings, citizens of the internet, and welcome to my table in my apartment, from which I talk all the time. It has been a minute. It was it was over a month ago that I posted the last episode of Unsound Minds, in which I interviewed an old family friend, Rose Elizabeth Supan, about what it was like growing up in the 60s as a closeted trans woman and coming out later in life. If you want to check that out, it'll be... Sorry, no face. So, since then, I turned 35, which actually felt like a milestone because of where I'm at now. Because when I turned 30... I was still living with my parents. I was still really sick and I didn't know why. I hadn't gone to Johns Hopkins yet. I hadn't been diagnosed yet. I was doing kind of a lot of drugs. And I was just not happy. And I really didn't have any plans to make myself happy. Since then, however, in the past 5 years alone, I moved into my own place, and I've been here for over a year. I started a business, which is really going well. Nothing to report except that it's going really well. And this is only a big deal because of the BPD and the unstable pattern of relationships and stuff like that. I have been with my boyfriend for 5 years in February, so that's great. That's gone well. I went back to school. I took some time off to start the business and all that. I haven't gone back yet, but I will. So, and in general, I really like where I am in my life. I am living a largely happy existence, which is crazy to me, because I wanted to die for the first 30 odd years of my life, and I know not only do I not want to die anymore, but I am content and happy with who I am and what I'm doing 90% of the time, which I think is something that a lot of people can't say, and something that I'm very grateful to be able to say. I don't see happiness as a state that you achieve and then maintain. I think that actually that attitude can really sabotage someone's happiness. I think that happiness is something that you start to sort of notice threads of happiness, of this person. When I'm around this person, I am happy. Or when I'm doing this thing, sailing, playing music, whatever, I'm happy. And then you sort of, through years upon years of trial and error, you start to put together the combination. You just figure out the algorithm for your personal happiness. But I don't think that happiness is a state. Not the way that contentment is a state. I feel that contentment is something that you can maintain. Happiness, I think, is something that you have for the time that you have it, and the goal is to just keep generating it, not just for you, but for the people who you love, at least if you experience empathy, because if someone you love is happy, that makes you happy, right? Anyway, that's your moment of zen, whatever. And so happy to I received a ukulele for my birthday. Back here. It's not back there. It's somewhere else. Here it is. Now, I don't think I have any subscribers from when I first started this channel, which must have been in 2010. But my first video for my YouTube channel was a ukulele tutorial for the song Creep by Radiohead. And it is my most viewed video by a lot for some reason, because I wouldn't use it to try to learn anything these days. But one of the first things that I'm going to do this year is do a reprisal of that video and I'll play Creep. I intend to also just like make a bunch of videos, cover a bunch of songs, and then like post them on my Patreon. Because I really rarely update it, and the few people who are on there really deserve more. They're very sweet to me. Also on the Patreon, I'm gonna be posting early access like jewelry that hasn't gone up on my Etsy store yet, or hasn't gone up at it at all. Discounts for paintings, because I have a bunch of paintings that I'm gonna be consigning and possibly selling. Who knows? A lot of blacklight reactive stuff, which I haven't done in a long time because I stopped being a body painter. It was a bad time. In fact, like right now I'm working on just a little snippet of writing about that time, and just the slow realization that I hate EDM. I hate the rave scene. I hate raves in general because I have a nonverbal learning disorder, and so I have a really hard time figuring out like facial expressions and like body language and social cues that are visual. So I might as well just like put a bag over my head as far as like all of my social intelligence like comes from my verbal centers, so I become not very smart. And I just hated it. I hated the scene. I for the longest time I told myself, well, I'm working on a book. I'm going to write a gonzo journalism nonfiction book about the rave scene. Because I wanted to call it Ravenous, and I thought that would be a really great title. But then, like, I was miserable. I wasn't writing anything either. Like, I wasn't experiencing anything that I thought was worth writing about, except for just people doing a lot of drugs and making a lot of regrettable decisions. So I wrote about that. One of my favorite moments, which was like where like the club that I went to on the night that I realized I hate this, and it happened when like some girl I didn't know was like, I'm just all about like good vibes. Like if you don't have good vibes, like I don't want to hang out. And I thought about that. I was like, you know what? These days I'm actually all about bad vibes. Bad vibes only, please. If you don't have anything that you want to complain about and bitch about, don't sit with me. And like I ended up making like a sign. It was like, fun, I am having it, bad vibes only. I don't know, I enjoyed that. And just because for me, peace, love, unity, respect, like that is something that all of those things are things that I actually take quite seriously, and not things that I really get passionate about. What? I'll go back to this. Like, what gets me revved up, what gets me excited, the way that raves get a lot of people excited, is like injustice and like bad things that I'm motivated to try to change. Like, which is why, you know, punk has always gravitated. I've always gravitated towards punk musicians and like protest songs and a lot of hippie stuff. So like, and now I'm just realizing this now. I've always been extremely skeptical about anything that seems overly focused on good stuff, because I grew up in an environment where quite a lot of things that weren't okay were going on, but there was so much effort being put into covering them up and focusing on good stuff that a lot of bad stuff just was tolerated, or wasn't changed, or was ignored, or was punished. So, like, for me, not being able to express my negative emotions and, like, not being able to, like, speak truth to power if I see an injustice, that's not an environment that I want to be in. and I have this knee-jerk reaction of like I don't like it. When we're like, and rave stuff is all about, you know, just dancing and you know, putting chemicals in your brain that only let you see the good stuff. And I would take those chemicals, but they wouldn't really do it for me because I'm on antidepressants. But I did enjoy being around other people when they took the chemicals, because I also just, all conversations that I end up having, like, eventually devolve into therapy or trauma. Because I like to figure out why people are the people that they are, how people got to be where they are in the moment that I'm interacting with them. And for me, the like, that's fascinating, and I love to learn about people that way. So yeah, I am trailing off. One moment. I also got this mug for my birthday, which, you know, is I don't know if you can figure out, it's got a moon on it, and it's very lunar. Sorry, guys. It's going around. It'll pass. It might take me with it. But mug. I also discovered a tea that I really like. I've never been, I mean, I like black tea, okay? I like green tea a lot more. My family drinks berries, Irish tea, Irish black tea, and for the longest time I was like, well, if I want that much caffeine, I'll just drink coffee, right? But this tea is called Tower of London, and it's black tea with like stone fruits in it, so it's got these sweet floral notes in the smell, but not so much the taste. Yeah. I legitimately have a drinking problem in that every time I go to drink from my water bottle, or yeah, it's got my logo on it, like, or a cup or a glass or anything, I do inevitably end up spilling things on myself. I'm over eager. Right. So finally, like, this is, oh wow, this video is actually a lot longer than I anticipated and a lot longer than I intended. But as far as what to expect from this channel in the coming year, there are like 7 or so episodes of Unsound Minds that I am really passionate about and really working on as far as research, and I want to make them as good as possible before I try to record them. I haven't lined up any interviews, but I have spoken to some people with whom I intend to line up interviews. Topics will include, one episode will be on the nature of addiction, the failures of AA, the successes of AA, and as it relates to our changing understanding of the model of addiction, and particularly it's going to focus on a study called Rat Park. Then there will be an episode on psychedelic therapy, and that might be a multi-part one because I want to talk about my own experience with psychedelics and how I found them to be helpful. And then I want a more fact-focused bit that's just about the efficacy of it. And I had a lot of people that I could interview about their own experiences. Oh, shit. Actually, I just got back in contact with a friend of mine from high school who is, like, an assistant to a shaman who conducts ayahuasca ceremonies, and that would be a great interview. What do you say, Chris? Anyway, and then, let's see, I also want to talk about ketamine infusions, and there's going to be, then there's going to be another episode on psychobiotics, they're calling it now, which is just the gut-brain axis and the plethora of recent studies that are suggesting that psychiatric conditions can be treated and manipulated through the microbiome of your guts, you know, the bacteria. That, because, I mean, like, first of all, like 90% of the serotonin in your body is manufactured in the gut. And like also there are in like Alzheimer's and more specifically Parkinson's, there's plaque buildup in the gut that crosses the blood-brain barrier, and the buildup of those plaques in the brain is what causes Parkinson's. So, like, can we manipulate the microbiome to the point that those plaques don't accumulate, etc. I'm really excited about that bit. I'm going to do an episode on the troubled teen industry. As a survivor, it was at the very beginning of the trend, but in, I think, 2004, I went to a wilderness program and then a therapeutic boarding school afterwards. My wilderness experience was really traumatic. My boarding school experience was very good. It was a very good school, and I got a lot out of that. So, but I also, there is one interview that I'm going to do with somebody who I went to wilderness with, who had a very different experience of she had a very bad experience with her boarding school, which was different than she went to. And I definitely want to talk about trauma, PTSD, borderline personality disorder. Witchcraft as therapy is also a big one. The role that witchcraft in its many forms has played in like treating psychiatric conditions over the years in different societies, etc., and how, more specifically, how my own practice of witchcraft, which has been going on since, well, I was 12, so like 25 years almost, has helped me. And like I that one's important to me because I know that a lot of people don't get it and don't want to, and that's fine, but I know that some people don't get it and would like to, and I would like to have a resource there for those people. Now it's been almost 20 minutes. I'm going to go away and work on the next thing. Okay, one more thing. I made yellow curry for the first time the other day. My dad got a new crock pot, so he gave me his old crock pot, and I'm obsessed. I love it so much. I made the best mashed potatoes that anyone has ever eaten, and it's really a crime that I was one of the only two people who was there. So that's all of it. That's a lot of the stuff that I hope to be doing in the coming year, and how things have been going in my life lately. All right. Okay, people of the internet, I love you dearly, and I bid you a good day.